Hey, good night, everyone. Welcome to the show, the iRep Sports Show. Tonight, I am your host, Al Winter, and soon you'll have my colleague, O'Neill 1892 Campbell, to join with us. And of course, as it has been placed out there, we'll be having a special guest tonight. He is Mr. Vassal Reynolds, one of the nation's top youth coaches. He will be with us tonight to talk about what he's doing, schoolboy football, the Premier League, and of course a little bit of the international club scene. Thank you for joining me. Of course, as always, you can find us on Facebook at iRepSports, Twitter iRepSports TV1, and YouTube iRepSports TV. So go over there, like, comment, and subscribe. So glad you could join us tonight for this show. Well, what's on tonight? Well, we'll be talking, of course, we'll be talking about the EPL. We have had uh, two sets of games since the last time we met. One a set of games on the weekend and another set of game between yesterday and today. And of course, we won't be just talking about EPL, but we'll be also talking a little bit about some of the games from the other leagues, La Liga, Serie A, Bundesliga, and League A. We'll be talking about that tonight. But right now, we want to also Liverpool have lost. Primarily talk about Liverpool here. Liverpool has lost one of their managers who managed Liverpool about the latter part of the 90s, about 99, and became sole manager in the early parts of the 2000. He managed up to 2004. That is the late Gerrard Houllier. And in 2001, I think that was his most successful period at Liverpool, where they won the treble, won the FA Cup, League Cup, and they went on to win what is now called the Europa League. And that following summer, they faced Bayern Munich for the European Super Cup, and of course, they won that as well. So yes, that season Liverpool, the only thing fell short of was the EPL, and of course, um, by in 2002, that team you had Gerrard, you have Sami Hupia, you had Dietmar Amann, you had uh, you had well, you had Emil Eski. A core of that team made up the English national squad that went to the 2002 World Cup. Um, and were quarter finalists. But one of the things for that 2001 2002 season was that Liverpool made it to the quarterfinals of that season's Champions League, and they lost to the Red Machine of Bayer Leverkusen of um, of that year um, on away goals in Germany, and so quite an interesting team that was that season. Had Liverpool won that game, they would have faced uh, Manchester United, who did themselves well that season. Gerard Houllier brought some interesting players during his time. I recall El Adjidjouf was one of those guys. Traore was another player that he brought in. Some were successful, some weren't, but it's the core of his team from that at the end of the 2002 season that was inherited by Rafa Benitez in the 2004-2005 season that went on to become Champions League winners. That dramatic night in Istanbul. Yes. So Liverpool has lost one of its modern managers. Quite an interesting man. And a manager that blooded a lot of young players, but he's no longer with us, and we pay our tributes to him One of the big thing of his time was that in 2001, under his leadership, Liverpool won 3 trophies. They were treble champions that year. The only thing they didn't win was the English Premier League. Alrighty, so that's our tribute here to Gerrard Houllier. Now, next on the agenda is our EPL Review Show, and very interesting that, like I said, since the last time we met, there have been 2 rounds of matches in the English Premier League, and we'll start from we look at the games from last weekend. Last weekend, you had Leeds going down 2-1 to West Ham. Leeds, think of Leeds, as we would say in Jamaica, they play pretty football, but continues to be woeful at the back. And I have to give credit to West Ham. They weathered the storm. They were part of that game. They played their part and played very well, and they came out 2-1 winners. So that was the first game last week, Friday. On Saturday, okay, just trying to bring up my thing here. So that's match day 12. We then had on Saturday Aston Villa beating Wolves by 1-0. Both teams had one player piece sent off to red card. Then Newcastle, they ran out 2-1 winners over West Brom. And then we had the Manchester Derby, or was it a Sleep Fest Derby? For all the years I've watched the Manchester Derby, this has been one of the most boring of derbies I've seen. And well, just a couple of observations. I watched the game because I'm a big Liverpool fan, but I can tell you. All right, just before we get there, let me just add my colleague. Hey, bro, how you doing? Welcome.
Yeah, bro, I'm here, man. Blessings, give thanks. Good night, everyone.
Mhm.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are.
Yes.
Well, again, you know what I always do as it's scrolling at the bottom of the screen there.
Mhm.
You can find us on the platforms. Please like, share, comment. It helps the algorithm. It helps and the momentum to build this platform and build the page. So please comment, share. Even though if you're on Facebook, the notification option is there. Click the notification so you know when we're on. I think it's a bell. I don't remember what icon they use, but I think it's a notification bell as well as YouTube. Click notification so that you know when we next have a show. We have a special guest coming up tonight, as I mentioned in some of our posts. He's having some technical difficulties, unfortunately, at the moment, so he's trying to get that resolved. But hopefully, we'll get him on tonight. So we'll just speak to that is over and done with, and we can have, as we say, like we say in Jamaica, a big coach, being able to drop in and pay us a visit. So yeah, bro, I just heard you back in talking about the Manchester Derby, the snooze
Yeah.
fest. That
Yeah. Actually, our guest is there. He's think he's fine now. So when
okay.
you're ready. Well, let's finish the first round, the weekend games, and then we can bring in him for the games that happened yesterday and today.
Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, the Manchester Derby. I was saying of that. I watched it with interest because I I wanted to see um the game between Manchester City and Tottenham when Tottenham ran out 2-0 winners. There was something I couldn't put my fingers on that was wrong with City. Because I looked through the team and I'm like, all right, 2 years ago they lost Vincent Company, as in he left the club.
All
Last
right.
season,
No. Let the club. Let's make it distinctly
retired.
clear. Yeah, they didn't want to re-sign him, so he
Hmm.
decided to. I remember he went to his home
Anderlecht.
country and they left and
Anderlecht.
was playing for a short
Belgium.
term. They said they didn't want him. Probably thought he was over the hill. They
Hmm.
realized that it's not just your age
Your
that factors
leadership.
in the leadership, and he was by far one of the best leaders in the Premier League, bar none. Very few could match him for his competence in that regard. And unfortunately for us as Liverpoolians, and what he did to get his team over the line in that ding dong battle
Mhm.
was
That
will never
cracker.
be, yeah, the cracker against Leicester will never be forgotten.
Mm, yeah. And then last season, David Silva bid his farewells to City, and he's back in La Liga doing wonders at Real Sociedad.
Leading, I think they're still leading the table, right?
Yeah, I think they are. I think they are.
Hey
So
man, and he's one of the big missing links. I mean, I said it. He's always been a favorite player of mine in terms of just his quality. Yes, many times he put the dagger in Liverpool in terms of when we went head to head, and those were some battles. But listen, but quality for quality, David Silva has been one of the best imports the league has ever seen. Best player overall, one of the best players the league has ever seen since I believe the Premiership. To be honest, his technical ability, his vision, not only with passing but also his movement, his runs, especially in when he was in the prime
mhm.
of his career when they won the last ditch um, goal against
Manchester United,
no. Yeah, they won the title, but I think it was Rangers, QPR, I think,
QPR.
right? And so that was just him right through his career. He was extremely consistent, and so they're missing him as well. They're missing him
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Funny,
So
our guest is also a Mancunian, a
mhm.
man from the red side, so and also bring him up on that as well.
All right. Yeah. So yeah. So the game, like I said, I remember watching the Spurs game that City lost 2-0, and I was like, what was missing from Manchester City? And so with this being another big game, I said, all right, let me watch and see. And somehow I've seen, because like I said, the players, companies gone have been gone 2 years now. David Silva gone left last season. So what has really changed? They still have the De Bruyne's. Yes, Aguero has been on the injured list more often than not. Um, but the core of the team is still there. So for me, it is what is missing. It's like there's no sparks, and you just saw it on the weekend. There are points in that game where Manchester United looked not even looked were more dominant. Yes, Ole was being pragmatic, but there are points in the game where Manchester United looked dominant and threatening, even if it's for short periods in the game. But I'm a football fan first of all. I'm a Liverpool fan, but I'm a football fan first of all. And like I said to a City friend of mine, I said, "Look, I'm concerned about your team. Not sure what's happening. Not sure what's happening." And again, um, in the midweek games, you saw again where they drew with West Brom. Yeah. So yeah. So
And
but
they just look like they lacked that incisive
cutting it. Yeah.
cutting edge. Aguero must be carrying something and not something because for him not to, I don't think he played at all.
He came
Um,
on. No, not against the money. He came
he,
on yesterday.
he came up against West Brom, you sure?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yes, he
Okay,
did.
all right, but it was limited minutes, and for very limited, and for someone of his quality to not get the requisite time, not even half an hour. I'm sure it was not half an hour if he came on,
Don't
right?
remember how long, but his second half.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I can confirm that. But long and short of it is, they're missing his cutting edge,
Mhm.
and without Sergio Aguero there, and yes, Jesus gives Pep what he wants in terms of the running and the pressing, but that doesn't score goals. Not for them anyway. Um, and so without that cutting edge with Aguero, plus Aguero, as you say, is deadly from anywhere. He can score up close, he can score from distance, he can score out of nothing, he can make a goal out of what seems to be impossible. And Jesus for me does not have that. Jesus for some maybe more technically gifted or naturally, in terms, I shouldn't say technical, but maybe natural ability, maybe Jesus has that over Aguero. But that doesn't bring home the bacon. That doesn't put the ball in the back of the net.
Mm-hmm.
And what he may lack in terms of his doesn't have the flair of the Brazilian. He does make up in terms of his goal glut. He's by far the well, he's the leading, I believe the leading, he is the leading goal scorer as for foreigners, ahead of Thierry Henry. And overall, in terms of people who know a striker for striker, he's right up there. His goal conversion rate speaks for itself. So, not having Aguero at his very best, and also as you said, just so a number of things just seem to be lacking in that squad. In terms of Manchester City, they just not don't seem to be at the races and can't seem to find that missing ingredient to get them over the line. Pepper's also changed things up slightly in terms of the way he's approaching games. He's not playing out wide as much as he did. In terms of using the width, the entire pitch. A lot of the guys are cutting in. I guess it's similar to what we do. It's almost like they converted to a Liverpool approach, but
That
they don't have the quality out wide, except for well, who has the quality out wide? None of them can put the ball in the area as well as Robertson and Trent. So I think he's changing. He's trying to close ranks for whatever reason. Maybe the personnel he doesn't trust them to some extent. But they're not giving him what he's desiring in terms of the overall fixture. Okay, Aguero came on in the 76th minute, so barely had 15 minutes to show what he could offer to the team.
mm,
Came
yeah.
on for Phil Foden.
Right. Yeah. All right. So that was Manchester United, Manchester City 0-0. Then we had the clash of the Blues, Everton versus Chelsea, and Everton came out 1-0 winners in this game. I like I said on Saturday, I said to some colleagues, this was the Italian job in that you saw Carlo Ancelotti going into his um, you saw where the Italian in Carlo Ancelotti came out because Chelsea did was dominant as it relates to position, but and they had quite a number of chances in this game, but didn't put them away. And of course, Pickford, your friend um, that is error prone, was very outstanding in this game. But nonetheless, Everton came out 1-0 winners. And of course, I guess with the return of Richarlison, um, then yeah,
Yeah,
but
Richarlison has been key to their upsurge again, or for them to get some competitive results. Because when he was gone, I don't think they won a game, and he just brings that additional. He's just that additional body, that additional X factor that can create havoc. He can be he can be hot and cold in terms of his behavior, and does some reckless things as well. We know of that for certain. What happened to our Thiago? But in terms of for goal scoring and in terms of what he brings offensively, he definitely is one of the key players for them. And you can see that Calvert Lewin thrives much better or operates much better when he has the tandem of Richarlison and him up front. And Richarlison is able to. Richarlison floats around more often than not. Calvert Lewin is more the traditional number 9 in the
mhm,
box and so forth. But Richarlison floats around, can also do the attack well by himself, and he's just the all-around player that helps the team put out their best. And you saw that again in their most recent fixture.
mhm.
Chelsea, um, are they contenders for the title? I'd have to say so because of the number of points that I foresee dropping from all the top teams, including ourselves. I can barely see a team winning more than mid 80s, if so high, because yeah, probably I'd have to put in the 80s. I can't see. It would be horrendous to see a 70 point title win, because that would show you how many games would lost. It would be well, maybe not terrible for the game, because people would love to see lower teams being competitive and getting one over on the big team. So that's there. But I think 80s. I don't think anyone is getting more than 80s to win the title. Probably 85, maybe there and thereabouts.
Okay.
Chelsea are in the conversation right now because it's still early days, but with the inconsistencies that pops up at times, that might be their downfall. Just not getting over the line when they need to.
Yeah, because it was an error on their new goalkeeper's part that gave Everton the win. A goal from Gylfi Sigurdsson, the man from Iceland,
Yeah.
icy cool, and Chelsea, Everton came away winners. All right, before we get to the next set of games to review, we have we have with us tonight our guest, Mr. Vassar Reynolds. Mr. Reynolds, are you ready to join? Good night. Night, Sir Reynolds. How are you doing? Welcome to the show, iRepSports show.
Can't hear you so clear, coach. Coach, having some little device issues.
Okay. Okay.
You hearing him, Al?
No. It's not clear. All right, go again, coach. All right.
Whoever your internet providers, we're gonna strangle them.
All
All right.
right.
While coach is sorting that out,
Oh, we look at the Southampton Sheffield game.
hold on. So, coach, if you're hearing me, what you can do is leave the studio again, log out, and then
Come
come
back.
back in and test the audio and the video settings one more time, and ensure that you're actually seeing yourself and movement is there, because it is sticking a bit. Gonna send you a message. All right. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Go ahead.
All right. So the next game, Sheffield, Southampton versus Sheffield. Uh, that was the first game on Sunday, and of course, Sheffield ran out 3-0. Sorry, Southampton were 3-0 winners. Sheffield really struggling. I saw portions of this game, not all of it, but um, Sheffield really struggling, really, really struggling.
I'm not even sure why. This is the team that last season were one of the best teams in the league in terms of being an underdog. Always were pushing for Europe
Hmm.
and were really doing well. Seem to have all the pieces that all the tools necessary um, to be competitive. I could not see three teams better than them for them to be at the bottom of the league and fighting for relegation. I saw them as one of the teams that would probably be in the top 10 again, at the very least top 12. But
Hmm.
I'm quite surprised at what is happening. I mean, pretty much it's the same personnel, except for maybe a couple of changes. But I'm really not sure if it's the mentality. I'm not sure what's happening. But I'm just very surprised. And they took time to um, build. So they came out of the championship. They just build and they grew and they got better, and they were able to push themselves out of the championship and be in the premiership and were very competitive. And now they just seem to have lost the plot. Um, for me, I can't see them remaining in the premiership because I just think even for now they're too far off the
Hmm.
pace. And 40 points is usually the benchmark,
Hmm.
and they're on what, one still or two?
Something like that. One was the
Yeah,
last time I checked.
yeah. So let me check the standings quickly. So they're just way off, and I just can't figure it. I mean, they still have Lundstrom, who was a break had a breakout season last year. They brought in our former youngster Ryan Brewster. Yeah, they're on 1 point.
Hmm.
Ryan Brewster it came in and he should have helped them in terms of their attacking. He has not been able to do so. And again, Okay, so it's good business by Liverpool to sell him on, right? In terms of the finances that they got at this early stage, he's still young, he's learning, growing. Would I have wanted to keep him? We discussed it at length. Yes, I would have wanted him to stay in our ranks. Uh, but then again, we spoke about having him out on a loan. So I'm hearing our coach is here.
Hmm.
Yeah, spoke about having him out on a loan and bringing him back. It seems to me the Premiership just might be a little too big for him at the moment. I thought he was ready, but probably he needs another run out in the Championship to grow some more and test his metal, and then from there maybe matriculate um back to the Premiership. Yeah, give me a second. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Yeah. Alrighty. All right. After that, so that was Southampton 3-0 winners over Sheffield. And I think second season syndrome may be affecting um, Sheffield there. That's something that I've observed with a couple of teams over the last probably 5 years that they came up from the championship. They do well in their first season, but by hit the second season, they just taper off, and more often than not, they are relegated at the end of the second season. Coach Reynolds, welcome. What are you doing, sir?
Good night. Good night. Good night.
Night, night. Yeah, man. Welcome to Arab Sports Show. Glad to have you. Yeah, we're just doing a bit of EPL review of the games that went on the weekend. Did you see any of the games? I know you're a football coach, so I'll show you what some of them. Yeah, coach, you hearing me? All right. I guess we're having a bit of technical difficulties. All right. So Southampton 3-0 over Sheffield. Um, we then go to Crystal Palace Tottenham, a game I watch with interest. With Liverpool chasing them. Well, they're on the same point at the time, number of points at the time. Um, a very interesting game. You would have heard me quite often on this show saying that Crystal Palace this week they're hot, next week they're cold, this week they're hot, next week they're cold. But for 2 weeks in a row, I've seen them really strutting their stuff. This wasn't an easy game for Tottenham at all. Uh, Tottenham went ahead, of course, with their awesome counter-attacking play, but Crystal Palace really um, kept it going even after being down 1-0. It was a latter part of the first half of the game. You saw them going at Spurs and Hugo Lloris and the defensive unit. Jose Mourinho being a pragmatist kept them at bay. Second half, more of the same. Wilfred Saha, Easy, Benteke. They stepped up their game, and the pressure eventually paid off. An error by Hugo Lloris, and I always say to people that when it comes to Hugo Lloris, there's always an error in him, and so said, so done. Um, from a free kick, a set piece, ball came in, and there was a header, and he stopped it but spilled it, and Sloop was there to find the back of the net, and it was 1-1. I've never celebrated for Crystal Palace like I did on Sunday. They were one. They drew 1-1 with Tottenham in that game. And before I get to the Liverpool game, with every game prior to the Liverpool Fulham game, which was played at around 2:30 Sunday afternoon Jamaica time. Um, so we had where Tottenham dropped points, Manchester City dropped points, Chelsea dropped points. For me, it was the perfect opportunity for Liverpool to become sole leaders in the EPL. But what I saw on Sunday was there was a point in the Liverpool game. So now looking at Liverpool Fulham, there's a point in the Liverpool game where before the probably the first by the 30th minute, um, Alisson may have had saved the Liverpool 3 or 4 times, and it felt like shades of um, Aston Villa. Only that this time we had a very good goalkeeper in Alisson to bail us out. Um, Second half was a little better for us, but um, it's just one of those days where Liverpool wasn't at the races, but nonetheless, we walked away with a point from Craven Cottage, and that kept us tied, well, kept us in second place, just on goal difference behind Tottenham, who dropped points um, earlier in the day. Yes, O'Neill,
Yeah,
what's in this?
yeah. For me, it was a missed opportunity. I mean, I tried to look at the brighter side, so to speak, of the whole thing, but it's difficult to really have that when everyone else went before you and you saw that they had dropped points. So this was, as you said, the perfect opportunity to get a lead on the competition. Maybe based on what is happening with everyone, maybe the situation is of such that because there were fixtures that they all the top teams all the top teams were a part of. Then the same thing happened to Liverpool in terms of just the fixture situation was just a bit too much for these particular teams. So for me, I think that was the issue, and so this carried over into the Fulham fixture. So all the teams that had won fixture, other teams like Liverpool, the top teams they saw probably a little lethargy, probably a little leggy, and just not up to the at the races as you had mentioned before. And maybe you need to get that 45 minutes, of grogginess of not being able to be on top of your game, whatever the right term is for that. And then second half, now you try to come good, but it was just not working for Liverpool. And as much as I'm trying to, as I said, some would say it's an excuse, but you're just trying to look on other factors because the games are coming thick and fast for some teams and for others not so much. And that could have been a factor based on all the top teams having struggles in the previous round. But again, it's something that we would have wanted to get a victory for. Some would say we're quite fortunate to actually get any points at all. Um, Fulham came to the party and deservedly, got a goal and probably could have gotten a couple more. So for us to leave unscathed in terms of not dropping all 3 points, she count herself fortunate and as I say, run with a point, they run away with a point and take it.
Yeah, yeah, came away with a point, and it kept us in touch with Tottenham, who dropped points earlier. Leicester City came back with a win. They won 3-0 at Brighton. And then there was the final game of the day where Arsenal went down 1-0 to Burnley. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, having not scored for Arsenal for quite some time, he was in a goal drought, finally got himself a goal, but at the wrong end, and so gave
You're
Burnley.
not, you're not, you're not, you're not good, man. That's just so evil.
What? But what? The man have a goal drought. Run.
It's a brilliant header to man.
See that? Yeah, man.
Brilliant glancing header.
Perfect. And so after Saturday, um, the table remained Tottenham leading. We're in first place over Liverpool on 25 points. Liverpool on 25, but Tottenham with a better goal difference. And in third place was Leicester City. At the time, Leicester City and Southampton were right there in the top four. Um, Before we go to the games that were played yesterday and today, just some brief roundup across Europe. Not every match, but in Germany, Bayer Leverkusen with 2 goals from Jamaican-owned Leon Bailey,
Mhm.
won 4-1 and leapfrog Bayern Munich to the top of Bundesliga. So Bayer Leverkusen, 4-1 winners, and they rose to the top of the German Bundesliga, while uh, Dortmund bounced back after being thrashed 5-1 and losing their coach, Lucien Favre, to that 5-1 demolition by Stuttgart, a
Mhm.
team that is struggling in Germany.
Yeah, yeah, you can't have that. Are they trying to say that they miss Holland that much that they're not able to find any goals in their fixtures or be able to get a victory against a lowly Stuttgart? That doesn't look good. Jaden Sancho didn't see much, but from what I'm hearing and so forth, he seems to be lacking a bit of confidence for whatever reason. And I mean, when on their day, Dortmund can give anyone some real trouble. But
Mhm.
the reason why they have not won the league since Jurgen Klopp left is that they're just too inconsistent, too inconsistent. And I think it was last season. Last season was it? They had a great chance of winning the league. They had a little gap. Was it?
Mhm. Yeah, man, last season.
Had a gap. We thought that it was a done deal because Bayern were struggling, etc. And I think the turn of the year from December to January, I think Dortmund had a decent little lead that they could have, start boy based on what they've been doing, based
They
on what they've
did
been playing. This is their fine. This is their chance. No, this is their opportunity to get
win the
take the
league.
take the hold off the from the stranglehold that Bayern has had. And again, they capitulated. Since Jurgen Klopp, no one has been able to wrestle the trophy away from Bayern Munich. And it happened again. Dortmund got opportunities and just threw it away. And inexperience again, and just not having the know-how to get over hurdles like that cost them a league title that I think they really should have had. But credit to Bayern Munich for continuing to push the envelope and ensure that they just do what they need to do, and they kept on getting the victories while Dortmund kept on dropping points.
Mhm.
Eventually, they overhauled them, and that was that. And so it's the same thing again. Dortmund hasn't really changed. They might change coaches, but until I see them in a place where they are consistent and able to hold on to leads or hold on whether points in the table or otherwise, and have more consistency, then they're going to continue to struggle and miss out the elusive uh, Bundesliga title.
Well, yeah, you mentioned change of coaches. I think Lucien Favre became their coach no more than 2 seasons ago.
Mm.
He was the manager for Ajax when they that season when Liverpool won the Champions League. He was the Ajax manager, and he. I was saying to somebody just recently that he was a man there when Ajax lost to Spurs after leading even from the first leg, and they lost. And I start to wonder if it's more than just a Dortmund thing, but Lucien Favre, because I think he has a brilliant team. Yes, he gives a lot of chances to youth. Bellington is there. Jadon Sancho made his name there. He became the superstar he is through through Dortmund, and so I'm wondering if it's a Lucian Favre thing now, where they just cannot get over the hump because, like you said, last season they were a house on fire.
Mhm.
They had a sizable lead. The first Classicer they won. I think they won 2-0. But
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. That was where everybody said, "Whoa, okay, this must be it. This is the title decider."
mhm. And they just did not make it, and so um I wasn't surprised when he was fired, because I heard it in the news last season that even that was being considered. So it is what it is. But a talented team nonetheless,
Yeah.
from back to front. I think they have some quality players. I think maybe Hummels and Marco Reus may be the oldest players on that team, but it's a predominantly young team, and so let's see what they do this season. They slipped from second to about third now, maybe even fourth, because as it is, Leverkusen are at the top of the league. Then you have Bayern and Red Bull Leipzig as
Mhm.
well. Yeah. Uh, over in Italy, AC Milan continue their on their merry way with the old man Zlatan banging in goals left, right, and center. I saw them beating Napoli. Um, and Milan just doing well. Just I guess the pressure is off. Nobody expected nothing of them because they have been struggling for quite some time. I think
Sorry,
since
would you really say the pressure is off because of not one, or for me, could look at it that pressure is still there to the extent that AC Milan being a storied franchise,
Mhm.
perennial winners, you know, Juve now taking over for some time now, but still there's a big history behind the AC Milan, and when they're not at the top, just like with Liverpool, when the microscope was always on us, even when we weren't competitive or able to win any trophies for years.
Mhm.
Would it be this? Couldn't you see it as the same for AC Milan, struggling and no back where they are? It's not a matter of the pressure is off, but they are where they believe that they should be as a club, and Zlatan is the main man behind sparking them to this level of consistency.
Maybe what I mean to say is before the season start, the pundits never had, because of how it has been for Milan over the past couple of seasons,
Right.
they never had them as favorites. Probably not even probably getting a Champions League position because of how the quality of Juventus. They still have a Cristiano Ronaldo, um, Inter Milan, Napoli, and what Atalanta has done. So it would be Atalanta, Roma, Napoli for the last probably two
Mm.
spots. Um, so with that said, nobody really was looking for them to,
AC Milan.
yeah, but man, they aren't they doing what they are doing.
Definitely, definitely. And
They are
kudos to them.
unbeaten.
And again, I was talking to some persons recently, and I mean, where would you rank Zlatan Ibrahimovic? For me, certainly one of the best strikers, players that have graced, I guess, the modern era, especially. I think that he's just been brilliant over the years. The only thing that stopped him in England was, for me, probably age. He came a little too late, and probably, as I said, for him, he wanted to prove himself. So for him, no time is too late because he doesn't think he ages or he's calls
Mhm.
himself Benjamin Button. Um, but for me, I think Zlatan's quality is there. He knows where the back of the net is. He is able to score all types of goals. Remember that memorable bicycle against England, from so far out, that he scored, and those countless goals. He's been in some top teams. The only thing missing from his CV is the Champions League, but outside of that, well, of course, World Cup as well. But Sweden, I don't think would really factor in much where that is concerned. But in terms of club football and just his quality on the park, it's
Mhm.
clear for me. And he's a leader. People might say he's arrogant, chauvinist, whatever you want to term it as. Probably, of course, that you could say that's there. But in terms of as a player, and I don't think many persons have as players have an issue with him. They actually look to him as one as a driving force, I think. And at AC Milan, I guess you could say they were lost for direction and so forth, and he has brought that stability. Did it in LA when he went, and just his bravado, what he brought to the table, put LA back, as a spectacle again. They were always there and thereabouts in terms of the different marquee players, but he just brought something from day one. He made a statement and he backed it up, and he was the class of the league. Him along with what's his name, Vela. I think it was Carlos Vela.
Carlos Vela, yeah.
Right, those two were going neck and neck, and that brought a lot of spice to the league. I was to say vibes, because those two teams in LA, those LAFC versus an LA Galaxy in the same state, rivals, and Vela scoring goals for fun.
Yes.
And Zlatan doing the same. Zlatan even what do you call it? Getting one over on him. I think he scored a hat-trick that day. I mean, listen, Zlatan at 30, what is it? 38 years old is really, really exceptional. Kudos to the 38-year-olds and up, showing that we're not dead and buried yet, but there's still life in us. And Zlatan definitely showed that on the park and continues to do so. So I rate him very, very highly.
All right. So we have back with us, our special guest, Mr. Vassar Reynolds. So Reynolds, are you there?
Yes, man, I'm here, gentlemen.
All right, great.
Great. I don't know if you chance it for video, it might go off. You could maybe try with the video, and then if it starts to give some problem, you just take the video off and work with it accordingly.
Is my background too dark?
Yes.
Yes, it is.
You can adjust it accordingly. You can if you want to take the video off and then adjust it. But it's great to hear you clearly, though.
Yeah.
Hey man, great to hear you.
Yeah, so he's gonna start that. So I'm excited to have him on. Little later than we expected, but that's how it goes in terms of technology.
Better late than never.
And I could listen to him all day. A great mind, local mind in terms of Jamaica, and really happy to have him.
Look a bit better, right?
Yeah, man.
But you're freezing up now. You change location.
We're freezing up?
Okay.
Because if you on my location, I cannot have any location.
Okay.
Am I good?
You seem good there.
Yeah,
Yes,
man, you are.
Cool.
Yeah, we work with what we get, man. It's you, so we'll take what we get.
Yes, sir. Welcome, coach.
Welcome.
Yeah, man. Thank you. And I've been listening in keenly,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we appreciate that. Yeah, you're having some struggles getting on, but this gentleman here, Vassar Reynolds, is I don't have for him is his middle name. If he has one, do you have a middle name?
Actually, I have 3 surnames. Vassar is a surname. My middle name is Lee, and Reynolds is a surname. So
what?
Here you go.
3 surnames. Wow.
3 surnames.
Yeah.
But coach, as we affectionately call it, it's absolutely wonderful to have you. We on this platform always try to bring some great minds on board whenever possible, and you are certainly one of those. And we want to kind of pick your brain a little bit, and give you the floor to some extent to have your say before we go down memory lane and kind of take you back down. You are a Mancunian, you're a Manchester United supporter. This is Liverpool centric in terms of our channel, our Liverpoolians on this platform. But
yes,
at the same time, we don't disregard those who have chosen to go the wrong path. We still love and support you. And but you did say you have a little soft spot. Not many, but you did say you have a little soft spot for Liverpool, which is a rare combination.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I'm the only Man U fan that likes Liverpool, to be honest. And I think I like Liverpool because of 2 reasons. If you trace the history with a John Barnes or our own,
Right.
so I've always have that little thing for them. And then trust me, I think I'm nowhere near a Klopp, but he reminds me of myself. Very passionate about the football.
Right,
Loves his players, but he's very stern.
right,
Um,
right, right.
so I think he's a coach that I've been following up before he came to Liverpool, and just because of his presence, and that is the reason why I think I like Liverpool, mainly because of Klopp.
Okay. Well,
Good manager, man.
we'll ensure that we will keep this statement of yours repeated on the platform to ensure that for future reference, those who are sure that a Manchester United supporter said those words, it will be right there as evidence. Um, Coach, wanna go back a little bit down memory lane for you. You're a coach of the highest order in terms of Jamaica. And for those who will be seeing this on an international platform, this is Coach Vassal Reynolds. So many local schools in terms of high school football, leading them to titles, and also on a club level in terms of the local premiership. Um, so, coach, before all of that though, I'm not even sure. Take us back. Did you play? And also, if you did play, what, for those who don't know, what position did you play?
Well, when you watch my team play, then you wouldn't be surprised that I was a defender. But yeah, man, I represented Clarendon College.
See,
And so
see.
when I came up against them in the 017 the Casa Cup final, it was a bittersweet moment for me, So
Hold on, stick a pin. Al, which CC you represented? Was it, no? You're what? A Russian?
No,
yeah,
Cornwall.
man, I was at
Oh,
Rossi's.
okay, I was just trying to check. I think I was gonna say it first, but Al was is from the other CCs from Cornwall.
I'm a Cornwallian.
Yeah, man.
So
Yeah,
so
man.
so
And
so
I think that 2017, him knock we out probably semi-finals. There's one of the, was it the last title that Rusty's won? You may have knocked out Cornwall.
Yes.
Yeah, man, I
Yeah,
remember that.
I think we
Was
edged
that
them by
shootout?
a point in the quarterfinal round.
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. Yeah, man. But I represented Clarendon College in the 80s, and then I would have played at the parish level, and I would have played at the Premier League level. I would have represented 3 teams at the Premier League level back then. Los Perfectos
Know
from
that team.
Manchester, a team called Avengers from Clarendon, and then
Know
I
that
played
team too.
alongside one Walter Boyd that was representing Galaxy FC out of Clarendon.
And big
So I would
team.
have played at all levels.
So you play with what was the other star man from Galaxy name? There's
Um,
another star there, man. That Galaxy. Jeez, I remember them balling him there from back then.
Yeah, man, and,
The guy,
you as a CC man, you out west you would have known Linton Stewart, who was one of the better left back in Jamaica then.
yes, yeah, man, yes, I
From
do.
Rossley. Yeah, man, he was the captain of the team then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man.
So I would have played, some football, in my days back then.
all right. So what brought about this love for coaching? Or why did it? What brought that transition? Was it by chance, as some would say? Was it something that you always thought of? Like as you mentioned, Jurgen Klopp, similar situation where Klopp, although I'm sure you probably were maybe a better player. I don't know, but Klopp doesn't rate himself highly as a player. But he
Mm-hmm.
definitely said that he had coaching in him. So did you see yourself as easily transitioning from playing to coaching? Or was it something that someone mentioned and said, "Yo, Basta, I think you go try coaching out, you know."
O- O'Neill, and I'll tell you the truth. I don't know if it was just a gift from I was um if my memory serves me correctly, I would have made the Costa Cup team at Clarendon College from I was in second form. And
Okay.
then when I was playing for this club, Sanctified United, in at the club level, the parish level, I was a captain from as early as 16 years of age. And then when I went to Michael University, in those days as a first year man, you don't make the college team. And immediately, by the time I reached second year, I was a captain. And so, I'm, by the time I leave university at about uh 19, 20, people then felt I was always going to become a coach. I used to leave college in the night and go to the stadium and what. Even when I have exam the next morning, I'm at the stadium until 8, 9 o'clock in the night. I was always watching games. When it's half time, I will go over and listen to the coaches. So people felt and knew then that it was in my blood. It was in me, and I was always going to become a coach. So it started from way back when.
Okay, okay. Who did you emulate from those early days in terms of who did you mirror your coaching or take pointers from? Similar to you mentioned Jurgen Klopp again. Who locally were your persons that you were go to, or maybe internationally?
I think it started. Locally with a coach by the name of Courtney Jackson. I don't know if the name ring a bell. He would have coached Sparlings High to the Dakar Soccer final some years
Okay,
ago.
okay,
He was the first person. He coached me at the club level when I was a teenager, and then when I left college, he brought me under his wings at Edwin Allen High School. When he left, and he tutored me there, and when he left, I took over the program. I think I would have brought Edwin Allen to the semifinals sometime back then, and then I would have gone through the ranks and I would have coached team managed by Princeton Boxill, managed by even by Mr. Ricketts, the president of the JFF is used to coach me at Galaxy. And those gentlemen would have encouraged me back then. And then, I would have gone through the years. I would have met a Windell Downswell, a Vin Blaine, and many of my fellow coaches, including Meran Gordon and others, who would have, we would have, learned the trade and been through several courses. And I've always remained a student of the game. And so
okay,
I would have, spoken very, very regular to those coaches and get the ins and the outs and, always learning, you know.
okay, okay. Um, well, before I get to current situation, what are some of which teams did you actually coach? Or first before that, which was the very first team that you got the opportunity to coach, and was that nerve wracking for you? Going in, getting your feet wet as a coach in the early days, and wondering if you'd make it and be successful.
Yeah, it was. It was actually when I was coaching at Edwin Allen back then. Used to be the assistant at the Dakar Cup level, and I had the under 14 and the under 16 as head coach. So I would have got my small experience with the youth teams,
Okay,
and then 3, 4 years after Coach Jackson would have left, I would have took control of the Dakar Cup team. Of course, just like any other coach, nerve wracking for a season, for an entire season, and then by the time the second season started, you'd have gotten wet to your feet and started to get used to what is expected of you as coach and what comes with the work and all of that. So yes, it was very nerve wracking in the beginning, and but I would have gone through all of that, and I would have gained a lot of experience through the years.
so I mean, like, okay, so Steven Gerrard, obviously, Liverpool fame, said he was a player of great repute, as the world should know who follow football. um, had greater, I believe, admiration and respect for Jurgen Klopp when he got into coaching, first in the Liverpool youth setup, and then now as the head coach at Rangers. But prior to that, when he was in the youth setup, he was saying they were asking him, I believe, what was the difference between coaching and just being a player. And as a player, was basically saying, you just do what you're doing, you play a game, and go home, and that's it. You do what you want to do. But as a coach, it's always on your mind. What is up next? What's happening? Whatever. Is that the same way for you? Like you're going to say, it's just constantly in your mind, about the games, about the results, about what could have been done better, about what needs to be changed, what needs to be fixed. I mean, what is it like for you as a coach? Is it 24-hour business?
Well, listen, man. Listen, gentlemen. I could answer that question in just a short sentence. You know, when I was a player, the coach. I remember Gregory Bartley, who was recently installed as a coach at Harborview. He was one of my coaches back then at Turner College, and he said to us one day, "Listen, the players can't be half as tired as the coach." And we laugh at him back then. So, coach, we are talking about we up on the field, I run up and down, whatever. And and it just years after that, as a coach, I recognize it's just hour to hour, day to day, week after week. I mean, when you are finished training, you have to go down and you're thinking about, did you achieve your objective? What can you do different? You have to think about an individual player. Is he improving? You have to thinking about the diet, because you don't know it going in Jamaica, especially when in the beginning as a coach. You are the coach. You are the doctor back then. You are the cook. You have to be thinking of everything,
Wow.
especially back in the earlier days. I
Mhm.
mean, now it's a little bit different. You have a more extended staff now, but yeah, man, it is a 24-hour thing. It's very, 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 very different from a player's perspective as it relates to a coach.
Yeah, I think probably players just not gonna understand until they get themselves in that particular shoe and say, "Oh, so this is what it was like." It almost reminds me of a situation where, I mean, we're looking at the referees, and I'm not gonna get into the VAR thing because that's gonna take all night. But but the other thing where the referee, sorry, Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville, they had this little test that they did in terms of being referee for a day. So obviously from our vantage point, we're looking on the refs and we say, well, this referee incompetent, don't know what they're doing. They're making the mistakes left, right, and center, blah, 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 blah. And so from my vantage point, watching on the TV, I think it was, or the computer, whatever, the guys were running through the paces. So the setup was something similar. We can get this imagery. How they were doing it, they stood at one position, and what was how the play that they were supposed to rule offside or onside for was the ball being played over, the attackers going towards the ball, and at the same time the defenders trying to hold an offside trap. So that
Mm.
was where they were supposed to try to now decide if it was offside or onside.
Hmm.
And I'm telling you, they struggled. The same person that said about the referees are this, that, and that, or the linesmen, they were struggling to decide if the players were onside in that play or offside. And me looking on as well, I was whipped into submission because I could not decipher if it was an onside or offside. Even when they slowed it down at times and were trying to see, because you have to know where the ball is, the moment the ball is being played, who is moving, etc. So the movement, the constant movement and trying to get your peripheral vision, seeing everything at one time, is absolutely the most difficult thing to do. So it gave me a greater appreciation to cost the referees a little less in that scenario, because I understood at that little glimpse what it is really happening at full pace. Um, no, you know what I said, I wasn't gonna touch it, but no, the CVAR now. No, they have the opportunity to not be so incompetent. Now this is where you get slowed down and frames and everything. And I think England is making a bad example. I'm sorry to segue lights, but VAR is annoying me and got the annoying me again today when it comes to my team. But I think that there has to be a margin for error. Maybe you could speak to that and then we'll go back into what we're talking about. But I think in Switzerland there's a margin for error in terms of where the lines are drawn. I think they make it a little wider, and just like with the little toenail or a fingernail or whatever it is, that's ahead of the play, they don't call that as offside, because obviously with the frames, with the cameras and thing, you can't get everything spot on. But in England, they're so rigid in their decision making that they're making these decisions, I think, nonsensically. It doesn't seem to play in the remit of the game. What is your thinking of VR? First of all, did you think that this was a good thing to bring the technology into play, and how has it been for you? So firstly, were you for it or against it? And then secondly, was it something that, based on what you've been looking at, especially in England where your team is playing, the team you support, Man U, do you think it's been working?
All right, gentlemen. I don't, to be honest, I was very optimistic when VAR came in, but I think the purpose of VAR is to eliminate some errors that the referees would have been making. And for me, there is more confusion now. I mean, for
I
me, there is
agree.
more confusion, and that is my problem with VAR. There is more confusion to the football now, and it's especially in England really. So for me, the implementation of VAR to correct and to dispel all of those confusion and whatever, it's just not working out. It's just not working out. And where a man is offside because his finger is ahead of the player to me is ridiculous. But it's ridiculous to me. But where VAR helps though is I think I was watching a match recently. I think it's the Chelsea game when it was yes, the Chelsea game on Tuesday when it was said the right back, that wing back would have fouled the player,
Mhm.
and the referee awarded a penalty, and in quick succession VAR came in, and you could see in slow motion that there was no contact
No
really.
contact. Mhm.
That is VAR. That is VAR.
Right, right.
But to a large extent, for me, VAR, too much confusion as a result of VAR. Look here, it takes away something from the football. You can't celebrate when they score a goal now. You can't celebrate. I mean, I heard Clapp mention months ago that he just don't know how to celebrate a goal. No, normally
Right.
Clapp would run down and celebrate. Him just it's just not even the player. You score a goal and you just have to be wondering.
Right.
If,
You're looking
yeah,
around to see if it is
yeah, man. Yeah, you
legitimate
have to
and
be wondering if there was a foul at the third play way up at the half line before you end up
right.
scoring the goal. So yeah, and one hand it's good, but for me it's too much complication and frustration, and it's because of how rigid England is using the system.
Right,
That's
right.
my that's
I
my
think that's a key point because um obviously VAR knows video assistant referee, and the video part is okay. That's there as long as they have the cameras in place. But the assistant referee part now, it seems as if from what I'm seeing, it's more those referees are leading that is assist they're on field as opposed to really assisting. So they seem to be the ones making the decision. So even the linesmen are afraid to raise their flags, even when it's a blatant offside, meaning it's not close, it's wide, and they're still waiting. And what I'm hear more now is from commentators, and I agree, is that when you allow those blatant offsides to continue to go on, no one knows that it's offside,
it
and then
it
a
it
tackle
impacts
happens.
yeah, man.
Right,
It impacts the mindset and the decision of the official.
right,
If I may just switch the argument a little bit to cricket, just for a little bit,
yeah,
and
man,
you check the same system when a man is given out in cricket.
right,
And the batsman walk down to you, O'Neill, and say, "Boy, what you think?" I mean, the man walk down and say, "What you think?" The man immediately puts you no under pressure, If you say, "No, me feel say if you review it and whatever." If you no say, "Listen, don't review it, man. You're out." When you go in
yeah,
the dressing room now and you go look on it and realize say you never out now, you kill the man when you come in. No. So
right, right.
I mean, it's too much pressure and the officials. I mean, especially as I said in England, where the whole thing is so rigid.
Yeah, definitely. I think some changes have to be made again, and they were looking at it and trying to make changes mid-season and all of that. And it's clear that they have not gotten it right. They, for some reason, Mike Riley, I believe it is, and his team that seem as if they know the best thing to do, and they have put down put their foot down to say this is what they're gonna do. But they're seeing that more blunders are happening, more issues are taking place. So that for me has to be rectified. And again, as I said, it seems as if those who are on field are not able to make decisions. Again, why not allow the referees to go in front of the video to view it themselves and make a decision as opposed to you telling them what the answer is? So that's
every
another thing.
time, every time when it happens, every time when that happens, it work out. It work out. The end product is what it should be really. But but
Right,
but if I may say, O'Neill, and back to the refereeing locally and whatever.
right,
Back in the days when I was a young coach, I felt then that it's not that I didn't understand the laws of the game, but I felt then that I was hard done by some referees, and so I end up getting chased from the bench, a red card maybe about 3-4 times in my early career. Trust me, there was a game. there was a game Edwin Allen was playing, a crucial game against Cornwall College down by Monroe. And back then, man, the big Steve Buckner was the coach of Cornwall College, where anything he goes, all referee listens to, And
Right.
you could not convince me on that day in terms of penalty awarding. You couldn't convince me. And I mean, I hate to say it, but police had to lead me off the field that day. I was summoned by Issa. But you know what? One of the key things, O'Neill and Al, is that as coaches, we have to, just like how we spend time trying to understand coaching and practice it, we have to spend time trying to understand the laws of the game, and that will impact your attitude towards them a little bit more. I have a coach, I have a referee coach, man. Every week I call Kevin Morrison and say, Kevin, what do you think about this? And so Kevin would lecture me when I see things, and I call Kevin Morrison and say, lecture me. Even right now, he and I is having a debate, because I say, Kevin, I have never seen a penalty taken and a player don't encroaching at the box.
Right.
Because and the reason why we discuss that is because as a coach at Woolmers 1 year, I lost out on a semi-final spot because my player scored the goal, and when everybody else celebrate, and all their team go back to center the ball, you see Peter Prendergast call back the penalty. And then the player miss. And then when me ask Peter what Peter said, boy, I'm an coach at the back. So I say, I mean, not even the opposition never recognized that. I mean, and so from that day until now, O'Neill, I have always been watching penalty. And every penalty I see kick, 99% of them.
That's true. That's true. Majority of it is encroach. And they're not looking at the goalies in terms of them coming off their line and how strict they are. But as you said, there usually is a player leading in or stepping in, and that is hardly called back.
Yeah. So how will this impact our local Premier League, for example? Now, because remember, we don't have the camera to review if the goalkeeper come off him line, So that again, so it's going to be, it's going to be more, pressure and responsibility on part of the officials now to ensure that boy, they are in tune with what is happening.
Yeah. So let's take it back a little bit, and then we'll come to a little bit about your Manchester United and so forth, and the recent results that you've been having, and your projections. So you know, in high school, you said Edwin Allen was one of your first sojourns in terms of coaching. I believe it was. Now, where did you begin to find some success? You've won a few titles. Where were those titles won? And I don't know if it's fair for you to pick, but maybe there's a couple of favorite memories that you have in the different spots that you coached.
O'Neill, I tell you the truth. I sense a little bit of success from those days in the early 90s at Edwin Allen at the youth level. To the extent that when I left Edwin Allen and I went and I coached at very technical and Garvin Massey over a 4-year span, I was recommended to coach the youth teams at the parish level, because they used to have youth confederation games parish. During those days, Clarendon was the hub when it comes to youth. I mean, on this Kingston and St Andrew could stop a Clarendon in those days. So from then I was learning my trade and making some progress and getting some success at the youth level. So I would have won under 16, and at the parish confed level won the national under 15 runners up a couple of times. And and then I took the chance and the opportunity to begin at that time. Must have been in the late 90s, early 2000 to coach at the club level. And I would have gone back. Yeah, man, I would have gone back. I didn't get that.
No, name a couple of those clubs that you dovetailed in between while doing schoolboy football as well. Because for those who are watching on in Jamaica, it's not like overseas, I'd say, where you have coaches that are strictly for a club team, and then strictly for you have high school coaches that are doing their thing. Locally, there are a number of coaches that do dual. So there are coaches like Vassar Reynolds who would coach a high school team, which is our locally our biggest football, or the most marketed or most watched football, which is the high school um, football with whether the Costa or Manning Cup. And then they are also coaches, more a number of them that coach the a team in the local Premier League, which is our highest form of football in Jamaica. Though it's not a professional league at the moment, it's more we mostly semi-professional. So he at different stints has done dual roles.
Yes,
Keep,
man.
keep going.
And especially in Jamaica, you always going to find coaches doing dual roles as it relates to. Remember, in terms of coaching, well, for some time, I think it's getting a little bit better now. But for some time, in terms of human resource as it relates to coaches, you have coaches doubling up at the schoolboy football and the club level, and even now you're seeing it happening.
Right.
So I was obliged to get some to have gotten some the opportunity to coach at Umberland back then, in the parish at the parish level, and then I would have gone on to Los Perfectos and coach at Los Perfectos. I would have represented Los Perfectos at the parish level as a player, and then I was asked to become, to take over the program by then Tony James, who is a former JFF president and one of the persons that I would have gotten some real encouragement from back then, and I would have gained some success at those. I think the Umberland team would have won at the parish level under my tutelage, and I would have won the Confed Championship twice with a Los Perfectos, back in those days. And then I would have, made the transition from Clarendon over to Kingston to Wolmer's in 2003. And again, I started there at the youth level. I think I am more comfortable coaching the 14s to 18s.
Okay.
I think that's my forte, I think. And so I would have coached at the youth level at Wolmer's for the first 2 or 3 years, and then in and out I was given the opportunity to coach the Manning Cup. So I would have been coaching. I spent 13 and a half years as a teacher coach at Wolmer's Boys, and within that 13 to 14 years I would have coached both at the senior level and the junior level for approximately 8 out of the 13 years, and would have gained some success there. And then, as you know, I would have moved on from there.
Hold on, stick up in. They can't move on from there. As a former student there, should I say, past student, Wolmer and myself, on behalf of the entire population of Wolmer's persons, I thank you for your service.
Yes,
Sad
man,
that
you're
you had
welcome.
to leave, the corridors and leave Hero Circle. But such it is, things happen, and you had to move on, and you were able to find success after leaving Wolmer's. But greatly appreciate what you did for the school, and keep bringing them to another level of competitiveness, especially when it comes to a Manning Cup. There are just different points on the radar that Wolmer's has been able to shine. Early days with Bibi, one time we won the title. Should have probably gotten another, but had to face some tough Charlie Smith and Norman Manley teams back in the earlier days. And then after that, not so much happening, and then you came and brought another light there and level of success. So much appreciated for that. Also, before we continue with Coach Vassar, hit the like button, comment, share. Just begin to spread the word. We have an amazing man on the platform tonight, and you have to try to ask questions. Feel free to ask some questions, post some questions, and we will highlight that at any point so that the coach can begin to answer that if he's able. So feel free to participate right now. And as I said, bring some of your football friends on, man. Girls, boys, some girls really love football. So bring them on. And you're bridging them as well to come in and participate. Um, so coach, just fast forwarding a bit, the you said you were coaching at different spots, different sojourns. You were doing some stints and found some success there. After Wolmer's, you moved on to where, and what happened in terms of oh, you also matriculated to the national level as well.
Oh, yes. One of the things that I would have, mandated myself, as a coach to ensure that always happen is to leave a mark, any program that I'm in charge of. And as I said, from the days at Edwin Allen, Garvey Masio, I would have done well, reaching the semifinals, and then at Wolmer's, I would have won under 14 twice, under 16 twice, and at Wolmer's there I would have reached the Manning Cup finals once, won the Ben Francis and the then Super Cup, and then I
Yeah.
would have made my sojourn over to Hanover to Rossi's High School, and in 017, and we won the Dacosta Cup that same year.
Are you able to
And
are you able to are you able to relive the celebration? Can you show us what they do there? when they, when, when they went over to the crowd.
yeah, man, it um probably more than the Super Cup at Wolmer's. That to me was the moment of my career so far.
So hold on.
Mainly because remember, I don't know if you gentlemen know, I would know that when it comes to Russies and the Russian fans, very, 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 very passionate, I
Hmm.
mean, and I think they gave that team no chance to even um qualify for the second round. I mean, I remember some fans came to me as a coach. All we want you to do is ensure that you beat our neighbors, Green Island. 'Cause that was the derby. They just just ensure that Green Island don't beat. So nobody was
Wow.
expecting the team
So
to even
there's no hope,
advance.
no hope. Right.
Yeah,
Wow.
no hope, no hope. But for some reason, I saw a little thing in the team, and I kept telling them that, look, I mean, let's try a little thing through the back door. And it was when we came up against Cornell College at Catherine Hall in the second round, and Cornell was leading us 2-0. I think that was the best game for the season, and we came from behind and beat Cornell 2-1. It was from that game that the players and people around the team and the spectators began to feel, that
That's some
possibility
sort of relief.
that the
Yeah.
team, yeah, that there's a possibility that the team can do very well and supersede expectation. So that moment for me was, trust me, it was joyous. The following year, 2018, we got knocked out at the knockout stage by Mile Gully, who eventually lost out by goal average to have reached the semifinals of the Dacosta Cup. They went on upsetting run, a very good run that year. I thought I had a better team in 018, to be honest, in terms of the mentality of the players and the players getting to understand what I was trying to do. But it just happened, it just happened after scoring what, 4 goals at the knockout stage, and it still couldn't qualify. We had ourselves to blame, So yes, and then of course, after the 018 season, for family reasons mainly, I would have made the trip back up closer to Clarendon, and I'm now at Manchester.
Okay. Okay.
Um, as he mentioned, Super Cup with Wolmer's. Um, he was the same coach that beat Cornwall in that finals.
Yes, man. Yes, man.
But
Hey, listen.
you can't.
There's a thing, There's a thing. I would have met
Hey,
Cornwall,
listen, listen. We
Dean is,
dominated that game,
yes, man. Yeah, man. And Dean is my big friend. I mean, there was nobody could tell Cornwall that they weren't coming to Kingston to give Wolmer's 3-0, 4-0. I mean, I remember the principal of Cornwall College said it. He said the day before it was just a matter of how many they would have won by. we we had a special plan for JJ and Vassell. I mean, there was a time when I had two players following JJ, and JJ still hit up the post and the crossbar and the whatever. But you know what?
And the
We
keeper
hung
was
on in
good.
there, we stood in there, and guess what? Guess what happened? The best thing for us, we scored at the right time. We scored with 3 minutes leave on the clock. so, so, so it was all doom from there. We know that
Tell
once we
you,
score at that stage,
when them
you know,
scrum and listen
yeah,
outside, doing
that's the right time. So there's a thing. As a coach personally for Cornwall, I would have met them what 6 times in my career, and I would have beaten them. Even practice match when I beat them. So it's a thing. It's a thing with myself and Cornwall. You know.
Hush, hush, and hush.
so you go.
um, well, I don't know. All you can say, I'll unfortunately has to go. I'm gonna keep on a little bit longer, coach. But anything you wanna throw in before he goes, I'll pick his brain on. I don't know if you want to touch on his Manchester club and where he sees them going or anything like that. What you wanna get out before he goes, before you
Yes,
go.
coach. Yeah, you are a Manchester United fan. What's your thoughts? What's your thought on Ollis since he has been there, and as it relates to this particular season? What's your outlook?
Let me tell you.
Hold on, coach. I take great pride in you doing that. Breathe in again. Breathe in and out again.
No man, guess what? You see, as a coach, you tend not to just well, speaking for myself, you tend not to be criticize a coach per se. But what you do, you put yourself in the position and try and sieve through what would have happened, why the coach would have made certain decision. For
Right.
me, for me, I don't think the present coach can get the best out of this Man U squad. Um, you see,
What is he
you,
lacking? What is he lacking that you don't think he has to really get
that
what he should get out of the team?
that authoritative manner that a Klopp and Pochettino and you see there are certain clubs at this level that certain coach just can't bring to the next level.
Like a
That's that's
Zidane at
my
Real
that's my
Madrid,
take. That's
like
my
a
take.
like a
That's my
Zidane
take.
at Real Madrid too.
Yes, and it is for that reason why you see the team. When a team want to do well and just bursting at the seam, and that's why
Yes.
the team is so inconsistent. So they burst at the seam, give you a good performance, and then they go back to their old self. That is what is lacking. Then, I mean, I think it need a more authoritative coach, a coach that is more respected by the players to take this Man U team. So I think you will see a Man U team as they are now for pretty much the rest of the season. Back and forth, back and forth. Look unbeatable at times because there are some good players. Look at beatable at times. Back and forth, 2 steps forward, 3 backward. I'm bursting at the seam. I don't think they will get any much better. But based on what is happening in the English Premier League, they are as competitive as any other team on their day. So they will be there or thereabout in the top 4, top 5, top 6.
Okay.
So you see them finishing in. You can see them finishing in top four.
At the present moment, I can't see that, but pretty much if you're following the EPL, I mean, all the possibilities are there based on what is happening for the past 13 games so far. So pretty much, I think they have a chance based on the inconsistency of a lot of the teams. Who would expect a
Right.
Man City? Who would expect a Man City to be lying in 8th position right now? And again, if you look at the margin of the points from 8th or 9th to the first place, and it's very close.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
I mean, 2, 3 games lost or won, and things can turn. So where that is concerned, I think they have a chance, but it's for now based on how they are playing, the level of inconsistency. I can't see them finishing the top 4. But as I said, based on how the things are panning out now. The possibility exists.
Okay.
What about the former coach? Quickly, Jose Mourinho now at Tottenham Hotspurs. Would you have kept him on? In hindsight, based on what you see, or did you think his time was up? Because we know he has these 3-year spans. Did you think that he wasn't gonna be getting anything else out of the team he had, or if they had reinvested, or do you think it was a poor decision to release him at the time?
You see, you, you- Jose Mourinho, everybody knows his style, counter-attacking, and he will do whatever it takes to win games, and he's a counter-attacking. So problems Jose Mourinho face. One, the Man U fans and the Man U fanatics and the Man U stakeholders didn't see a Man U in that vein. I mean, a Man U will, go out there and play free flowing football under the previous manager, and so they didn't see a Man U in that problem Man U face was the dressing room with a Pogba, right?
Yeah.
For me, there was just too many issues where Pogba is concerned, and Pogba, it would have seemed, and even now, control the minds of some of the players. And it was either that group or Mourinho. And the Iraq decided that it would have been Mourinho. I thought it was a bad move then. I think they could have, kept him a while longer.
Interesting. Anything else from you, Al?
No, that's it.
You've satisfied your your question quotient.
Yeah, man.
All right, so coach, couple more things before we wrap. And again, thanks so much for being a part of the show. Man U has the next. What's the next fixture? Let's actually run through the fixtures and hear what coach says. Probably hold him to it. If coach gets a bunch of them wrong, he has to buy us a drink. What we have on the lineup for the
Match day 14.
and the
This
date
weekend.
and fast. So this weekend is what they call this is the Christmas fixture now, starting officially this weekend.
Yeah, man. The crucial period now.
Yeah.
All right. 7:30 Saturday, Crystal Palace, Liverpool. So Liverpool go to Crystal Palace.
Joke thing that why we're playing so early. We're the team playing the most early games. But anyway, go coach. Palace at home versus.
If Crystal Palace played the way I saw them playing against Tottenham,
Oh Lord.
Liverpool maybe no, seriously, Liverpool will have it on their hands, but I will still give them the edge. I'll still give Liverpool the edge. Maybe a 1-0 or a 2-0.
I hear the thing, coach. Me like what you said that still, because I watched the game and I've always said it to O'Neill that for Crystal Palace to me, every other week they blow hot and cold.
Yes.
But 2 weeks in a row they have been very good. The thing about the game with Spurs and Mourinho style, him sit back and hit you with a counter attack.
Yes.
And so I think he gave them opportunity to play too. But
Yes.
Crystal Palace really look good on Sunday.
Trust me.
So
Trust
like
me.
you said,
Trust me. Yeah, man. It was like watching two of the quote unquote two big teams playing.
yes.
How
about what do you think about the Rasta guy there? Easy? Eze?
Yeah. Eze. Mm-hmm.
I think he's dynamic, man.
I heard the commentator that said that they find a diamond in the rock in that player.
The man came up from the championship,
Yeah,
yeah, man. Free kicks and silky smooth. Nice player to watch. All right, so coach said we could win this one. I believe so too. Next game.
Before we go to the next game, the issue I have is that we just don't. The 7:30 game just don't work so well for us at all. It's just not working for us, and I think that it's a setback. I think they need to look at that time fixture for some of the bigger clubs that have to that play games so bunch of. But anyway, it is what it is. For us, it's gonna be, as I said, a challenging game. 7:30 doesn't seem to work well for us, and I could see Palace getting a draw out of it because of the time the fixture is, and because also away we've had a little challenge with away games as opposed to being at home.
All right. Next game, 10 o'clock, Southampton versus Manchester City. Your boy Danny Ings is back on you.
Yes, man.
Well, you see, I'm not too certain how well. For most of the teams, there is just one way. For most of the teams, there is just one way to play a Man City. You come and you block up and you try to hit them on the counter. And you hope that you block up and you keep your shape and you be very disciplined and hope that they don't slice through. The thing about Man City, you know, if on their A day with this passing and movement, you know, and them slip through early and get on top of you, you might be in a rude awakening for the rest of the game. But having said that, if you can be the thing about it, every team or coach knows exactly what a Man City will come with.
Right.
So and for me, it is for that reason why I think in a way they are struggling, because you know it's not easy when the bus park and seem to be parked permanently, you know, man. And I mean, and you pass and just can't. It's not easy. It can be frustrating, and you can see the level of frustration sometimes in the Man City players.
But coach, sorry to interrupt, but Alan and I were talking about it before you came on, or maybe you heard the Aguero factor. How big of a miss is he to what they do? Because it seems as if the cutting edge from him, a David Silva who's not Real Sociedad, the person like yourself, a defender who marshals the troops, and Vincent Company not being there. How big of a miss? Let's say even for this season, now if you want to bring in those other two players, is a Sergio Aguero now on the bench, barely used, and those other key marquee players. How do you think that has affected Pep?
I think it would have affected the Man City big time. A Sergio Aguero is like a hurricane for Tottenham. You know? I mean, out of the blue, a Sergio Aguero will give you a goal out of nothing.
Right.
But there's another issue that I'm picking up with the Man City team. Kevin De Bruyne is not having his best of time.
Yes,
I realize.
Can't score a goal to save his life.
Good. And you guys know that when he's unsung, Man City is unsung. So there you go. But I kinda don't want hastily say because of those two players, Man City not doing well, or because of the injury of the centre forward there from Argentina, because a lot of the top teams would have been.
Hold on, but coach, I think Laporte is back.
Yeah.
But they're not using him.
He's on the bench.
I'm not so much blaming injury for Man City demise.
Hold on, coach.
No, man, he's fine, man.
Yeah, coach. What I'm saying is that Laporte is not injured. He's on the bench, but the Pep is choosing Stones and Diaz over Laporte, which I'm extremely shocked about, because I thought Laporte to City is like Van Dijk to us, and for him not to use him, I actually saw Laporte looking very despondent in their most recent match. Not the West Brom game, but I think the previous game. He was just on the bench, not used at all. So I don't know what happened since post-injury, what has been happening behind the scenes, but I'm very surprised, and they're still having weak points. But he's not injured.
Yeah. Having said that, because I think the Southampton team is not, this coach is more of an attacking coach than most other teams, and because of that, I think the Southampton team, this may be the game that the Man City team will want to play against, and because of that, I think, you know, if you come and attack Man City in a way, Man City find their rhythm and their best day, I think the Southampton maybe looking at that 2 or 3-0.
Just 30 seconds, coach, if you're able to, because I know we're wrapping up.
Yes,
Raheem Sterling, how do you think he has been? Okay, I wanted to include that, and then give you a little thing about the 3 Jamaican players. I'm not just as we wrap towards the back end of Bailey, Sterling, and Boza in terms of Shamar Nicholson and their international goals. Oh, Bobby Reid as well scoring against my team, etc. The international team, you know, and us going forward. But Sterling for City, how has he been for you? How does he look? Does he look the same player that he was last season or 2 ago?
Not the same player in my mind. He too is a little bit inconsistent. And I heard him mention, he did say one time I was listening to him and reading something, and he did say he's very close to Kevin De Bruyne, you know, and it depends on Kevin's performance a lot. I read about that, and I'm wondering if that is an issue, but it's clearly it doesn't seem the happy Sterling that we know and the consistent Sterling that we know that will, you know, run at player. It seems as if there's a little issue with confidence. I'm not certain.
Okay, but you give City the edge away.
Yes.
All right. I guess I think Southampton can get something out of that game, to be honest, because they're doing well right now. Al, do you think the same?
The way City playing, and Southampton with Vestergaard and at the back, I could see a draw.
Yeah, myself. Yeah. All right. Next we look at this. I'm gonna leave out some of the little grudge games. But Everton, Arsenal.
Everton. Coach didn't even hear what I said about Obama, you know.
No, I mean, yeah. Well, he would have scored. I mean, I was telling a coach today that that's one of the good things about Man U. All 3 players, the number 7, number 9, number 11 up top, they interchange. For the Arsenal captain, I think that's one of the mistake Arteta is making, to just having, you see, he plays only on the left and then cuts inside and score, and then people find out that, and so he's struggling, and then he's not getting his service. I can't see where. You know what? I think I'm going to go for a draw, maybe a 0-0 or a 1-1 this game.
No, man, this game not going in 0-0. Arsenal defense is terrible.
O'Neil, guess what? The Colombian is playing. Is he back for Everton?
Yeah, man.
James is back.
Yeah, man.
Well, if he's back, I think I'm giving Everton maybe a 2-0.
But to me, even if he wasn't back, Arsenal is so horrible that I can't. I mean, Calvert-Lewin, who's gonna stop him? Who's gonna stop Richarlison? I mean, and Sigurdsson is back on form, so I can't see them. I can't see them.
And
then you can almost certain that Liverpool will be down to 10 men. Arsenal will be down to 10 men.
Yeah, man. But Xhaka won't be there to disgrace himself again. He's already. I think wasn't he out of this fixture? I don't remember. But
David Luiz.
But you can pick any one of them.
David Luiz not play. Iman Arteta fall out. Arteta, Ima the rata, Ima leak out stuff to the media.
So there's implosion. For me, I can't say Everton not winning this game, because Arsenal just. Someone was saying, I think an Arsenal fan, and someone was saying that they're betting that Arsenal will not win another game until 2021. And they said that from a good while back, and it looks like that's potentially gonna happen, because Arsenal have a few games left, and I can't see where Arsenal is gonna get a victory. The next one we'll jump to is
big game.
A big game.
Spurs Leicester City.
Yes, man. Okay, first of all, today Leicester lost to Everton, and Brendan Rodgers has never had a good time against Carlo Ancelotti, so that just stood true to form. But this fixture, Spurs at home against wounded Leicester, so the Fox is wounded. Needing to have a pick at the bird, eat the bird.
Go after the bird.
Yeah, the Fox after the bird. What is your take on that, Al? Before coach is gonna jump back in, but Al, what's your take? What do you think that's gonna go? Mourinho also not.
Two wounded team.
And Mourinho talking to Klopp today, saying that the better team lost, and also saying that how Klopp was going. He said in an interview how Klopp was acting during the game. He would have. Hey, this is vintage Mourinho, bro. Vintage Marina is back. Vintage Marina is back.
Yeah. Um, this is a very interesting game because it's two wounded teams. Leicester, despite losing, they are still in the top four. And but and like coach said earlier, the points gap is so close from about eighth to the first place that um nobody will want to drop points. And so I don't this is I think Leicester in their last three games have only won one. And so
No,
they
they won two out of the last five fixtures.
total the last five that even
Yeah,
make
they
it
lost
back
the other
first.
three. So Leicester don't do in betweens. Win or lose. 8 wins, 5 losses.
All right.
But
So
if I show you know, sorry, one last thing, Ali. It shows draws at points don't mean nothing because we've had a bunch of them and lost titles. And
mhm,
Leicester has won 8 games, lost 5 games. They've lost the most games out of the top um 10 teams, including the 10th place team, which is Wolves.
mhm,
They've lost 5 fixtures, and the only teams that have lost more games than Leicester are Leeds in 13th, Arsenal in 15th, Arsenal in 15th,
wow.
Brighton in 16th, Fulham, Burnley, West Brom, of course,
Sheffield.
Sheffield, right? Only those teams have lost more or the same as Leicester, who is in the fourth spot. So Mourinho said it before that draws mean nothing to him. It's either win or lose because five draws is 5 points. And how would he put it now? Um, 5 draws is 5 points. 3 wins and 2 losses
Mhm.
is is
Nine.
9 points.
Hmm.
See? So there you go.
Ah, wow. This is a tough one because these are two counter-attacking teams.
Right. Because Mourinho, good point. Mourinho is a sit back coach. But guess what? No. But guess what? You should know Brendan Rodgers still. He will try to.
Attack you.
Yeah, he's an attacking type of coach, and I can't really see him not doing. I think he's always tried to get one over on Mourinho, and just hasn't worked. And if he
Yeah.
goes with that same approach, he's gonna sink again. As well as just seeing how Son and Kane played today against us,
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think that same approach will happen, and they'll be in some spot of bother if he takes that approach. But how you see it going? Who you think is gonna come out victors if not a draw?
Spurs.
You think Spurs will take it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the home team has
Wouldn't
the quality
wouldn't
to.
wouldn't want them to, but have to be more objective than sentimental.
Yeah.
I think Spurs will win it.
All
All
right.
right. Manu leads.
Manu leads.
Long time rivalry this.
Yeah, Leeds scoring 5 today, but still leaking at the back and probably could have conceded some more goals. So that is the biggest issue I have with Leeds. Although I like their attacking, their desire and hunger to attack. But because Manu is at home, boy, Manu just can surprise more time. I'm from my heart. I hope Manu draw or lose, but objectively, I think they will edge Leeds because Leeds defense again is a spot of bother.
Hmm. All right. All right. And the next one I'd look at is Chelsea West Ham.
West Ham have a buzz about them. Chelsea wounded, just like a couple of the other teams you mentioned, had a draw when you'd expect them to win. Frank Lampard at times with his team. Sometimes I don't know if you agree, probably a little naive in terms of his approach at times with how his team plays towards the back end of trying to hold on to a result or to win a game and they end up drawing. I think sometimes they have a little issue there. West Ham is playing well. The coach David Moyes probably getting a little vindication for well, he always coaches these teams pretty well anyway. But again, showing his worth. I think that, however, Chelsea at home is a little more formidable than at times Chelsea away, and so I have to give the slight edge, probably the odd goal, to Chelsea. Although it wouldn't surprise me if it ends up in a draw.
Yeah, I could
And
say
they're
Chelsea win.
sixth and seventh on the table. Chelsea sixth and then
Mm.
seventh.
Yeah, I
Just
could
for
say Chelsea winning this.
just before you go, Chelsea, the last 5 fixtures, 2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. And West Ham, 3 wins, a loss, and a draw.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, I could see Chelsea winning this game too. Probably
Chelsea,
3-1.
3-1. Okay. Can't too disagree with it there. Probably Oliver Drew um, getting another goal or two. Um, Also for form away, West Ham are eighth on the table if we're focusing on away um, form. Just for point of reference, my brother, Liverpool are 16th in terms of away form. If we're looking at the table, we've had 4 draws and a loss in the last 5 fixtures. We've had a horrid time in terms of away, and had we gotten a couple more points, some undeserved draws, we should have really got those victories, and we won't get into the depth into the intricacies of those. But we should be a little more. There should be a little more gap between us and those at the top. But I guess some would say we're crying over spilled milk, and they could have cried for some results as well. But that's just for point of reference. At home, just Chelsea will be third in the table in terms of their form. So they've had 3 wins and 2 draws. Liverpool at the top with all victories at home, of course, and Southampton for the last 5 fixtures. And Southampton, 4 wins and a draw. Sorry, and a loss. But hold on, did you say Southampton's fixture is at home?
Against City? Yes, it's at home.
Right. So they are the form team at home with 4 wins and a loss in terms of 12 points overall. So with City coming in fourth with 11 points. So for me, that's gonna be interesting. And again, a little point of note: City is 10th in away fixtures so far this season. 3 draws I'm seeing, a loss and a victory. So listen, Southampton's not gonna be a walkover, and I guess I'd have to lean towards you again for this fixture with Chelsea just edging West Ham.
Yeah.
Coach Vassell, last thing before we go. You hearing us?
Well, yeah, I'm hearing. I think that
Okay.
I may be in agreement, but boy, this West Ham team, I mean, they're on a run. Little bit disappointed with what I saw with the Chelsea team the last 2 games, and so they will be a little bit edgy, and
Yeah.
so can't rule out a West Ham victory. As a matter of fact, I'm giving the West Ham team the edge.
Oh, you give me the West Ham. You say West Ham is gonna win?
Yes, I think I'm giving them the edge. I think the Chelsea team needs to. Well,
Write that down, Al. Write that down.
Yeah, man. I remember, you
We have,
know.
we have the recording, man.
Good. I
Yeah,
think
go ahead, coach.
have some confidence, and the West Ham team is riding very high. I mean, if you trace their performance, you know, if they don't win, they draw the game, you know.
Right.
So it has been like that. You know, a balanced approach. I mean, and that is what kept them in the position where they are now. If they don't win the game, they draw, they get a point out of it. You know, and so it's going to be very difficult for a Chelsea team that would have lost some form of confidence recently, and as a result, keeping the Chelsea, the West Ham today.
All right. Lastly, coach, the performances of Bobby Cordova-Reid, 4 goals so far in the Premiership. Shamar Nicholson, obviously not in Jamaica, but playing his trade internationally and doing well. Leon Bailey, two goals recently for his Bayern Leverkusen team, and getting back some form that he had seemed to lose for a little time. So he's getting back into the reckoning. And of course, Raheem Sterling. Those are the 4 names that prominently come to mind right now in terms of what is happening on the international stage. From your vantage point, how do you see this unit, this crop of players, in terms of what they're doing there, matriculating to the international platform now? Earl Bailey sent me an article some time ago to say that he initially was not concerned, but because the fixtures have now up to 3 international games within a short period of time instead of 2, he has a slight concern over that, and that could affect Jamaica in terms of us qualifying, because he said with the international players, one of them is playing his trade in Egypt and having to make that travel. Defensively, we have Mariappa and I think Hector. Mariappa hardly playing. Hector not really used as at Fulham much. So, and there's no real cover. Mariappa 35, 36 years old. How do you see us matriculating within this campaign that is right around the corner?
Well, I will answer that question this way. It's very pleasing and encouraging. Coach Whitmore must be very encouraged. The fact that our attacking players are in such good form. The issue about they now transferring that to the green and gold jersey is an issue, and that is going to come with how often can we these players and gonna that to play in and as to a different time. It's good. I read that article written by Earl, and I'm in total agreement. All many clubs are going to want to hold down 3 games all around the world. So initially, what I was thinking is that not having our local players play won't be at the World Cup qualifying level. I'm not playing any part. So I thought that coach would have depend more on coach as well. Oh no, this comes up where he might not be able to get all his players up that he for all the games. So it is a concern.
Yeah, you're breaking up a bit, but coach, but it looks very dire because I think information came out again that Jamaica and Trinidad are the only two teams in the region that are not playing football right now, in and around us. And with that happening, plus the international challenge of the 3 fixtures, it's gonna look very, very difficult. We're not playing any football at all locally, and I'm seeing a great challenge there. But do you because there's an added space for qualification for the World Cup. Do you, with all the challenges, do you still foresee us squeezing in to that final spot?
I think well, apart from this, just concern that we discussed just now in terms of the availability of the players and the traveling
Right.
and so forth. The fact that we would expect a couple of Jamaican players to be in that squad, local players, but the fact that they're not playing any football, that's negative. I think barring any on the field, this team would have to will require 100% support of the field in terms of administratively and leadership, and I'm certain that everybody recognize that and will be pulling um, all the strings to get that right. But I think on paper we should have probably one of the best 5 players in CONCACAF. And just about getting the other part of the team uh, ready. But I think going forward, what is going to be very important for us is that chemistry, is utilizing those FIFA days that we have, and just to get that chemistry going. We need to see the situation of Bailey, of Nichols, of Bobby Reed. We need to get those. But I think I'm very optimistic in terms of our attacking trust and individual that can put it right.
Cool. All right, coach. Thank you so much. Al, anything else before we go?
No, that's it for me. That's it for me.
Coach, just want to tell us thanks so very much for joining us with all the difficulties you pulled through.
Yes.
Unlike Manu that seemed to be wading through tough waters, you pulled through with flying colors. I had to throw in that passenger. Coach, I was looking for for you on socials, and I'm not seeing you. Are you on social media? Where are you? What are your social media handles if you have any?
I'm hiding, man. You'll see me pretty soon.
I know because I said I'm looking for coach and not seeing coach. Okay, so he's not currently on social media, but at some point he will emerge,
Don't worry about
and
it.
you'll be able to touch base with him. But
Yeah,
coach,
man.
a
You know,
100%. Go ahead.
I'm saying you know to find me differently.
Yes, I know what to find, and I appreciate that so
Yeah.
very much. This is Coach Vassar. By the way, Coach, who are you coaching prior to lockdown, or who are you that at school, or what's happening?
Yeah, man. I was in the middle of the preparation period for at Manchester High School for the schoolboy
Okay,
season,
okay,
and you know what happened. So
yes,
I've been doing some training via Zoom virtually.
okay,
Um,
Mhm.
you know, just to keep the boys' brain active mentally and physically.
you can
So we were
focus. Right.
that in and mixing it with school world.
Got you, got you. All right, so coach is at Manchester High School again, the parish that I was born. So again, coach, get another strike and sticky in my book. And my cousin actually was there at Manchester with Duki. His name is yeah, young Mattis, Jarvis
Oh,
Mattis is my cousin, and so
okay.
he was at Manchester for a little period there and did pretty well back then. So again, coach, thank you so much for your service locally, internationally, and for your brilliance in terms of just picking your brain a bit, and you're able to help us get through this program, and talking about some local information, and also internationally your expectations of the weekend. As I said, it's recorded, so all the nonsense that you spoke will be brought to light, and anything that they spoke that was of worth, I'll ensure that is edited out of the video. But
Yeah,
again,
man.
coach,
Yeah, man.
much appreciation. Any parting words?
Yeah, really enjoy it, and looking forward to link up with the man.
Not a problem. We'll love to have you on
Yes,
another occasion.
coach.
Definitely, we'll touch
Yeah,
base with
man.
you.
Great to have
Yeah,
you. Great to have you, man.
yeah, man. Respect.
All right, coach. Take care. Blessings.
Cool. Thanks.
All right. Blessings.
Yeah, Al.
Hmm.
That's it. Just over the 2 hour marker. You did a little extended play. Appreciate that so much, and had a pretty good show. Touched a number of different topics. Time goes by so quickly.
Hmm.
By the time you start speaking, an hour goes in and then two. But
Mm.
we had a good show, and I really appreciate again. Let me say much thanks to Coach Vassar Reynolds at Manchester High School now, and many schools he's touched on locally, and has been added value. Again, like, share, subscribe. You see at running at the low end of the screen how you can get in touch with iRepSports. You got YouTube at iRepSports TV. You have Facebook at iRepSports, and Twitter iRepSports TV 1. I'm 1892 Campbell and Al Winter right there. The
Yeah.
our host had a good program, bro.
Yeah, man. We did. And I saw the numbers going up at one point while coach was with us.
Yeah,
Good
man, as
look.
it should be. Yeah, man, and of course this will be up there for the replay, so you can rewatch it or share, so that someone else can get a look at it, hear what Coach Vassarinas had to say. Yes, a little interruption technically, but for the most part, you're able to get and glean from him a number of key points, and we appreciate him. And again, he will be back with us at some point in the near future. Again, I'll continue to implore you to comment, to like, to share, to subscribe, and you will get notifications as to when we come on. So they're on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you are watching this. Um, Hit the notification bell and stay in touch so that we can keep this going on a weekly basis. Blessings to you all. Al, take
Yeah,
care,
man.
bro.
Blessings. Thank you for joining. This has been the Arab Sports Show. This comes to you every Wednesday night at 9:30 p.m. right here on your favorite social media platform. It is a Facebook, Arab Sports, Twitter, Arab Sports TV 1, and YouTube, Arab Sports TV. Join us there for the Arab Sports Show. Until then, O'Neill 1892 and Al Winter signing out. Peace.
Blessings.